John has a BYOG or sell. He says Riley's not able to get this offense turned around this year. Better just not playoff ready. Can I hold?
He's not able.
So I guess BYOG. If you were to say BYOG, that's Riley is that Riley won't be able to get this offense turned around, and it won't get. I'm going to cheat and say hold because I really do want to see how they look next week. That will tell me a lot.
Yeah,
that'll tell all of us a lot about how they come out next week.
If I had to make a decision right now, I'd buy it.
Yeah, if you hold a gun to my head, I'd say
no belief in this offense right now. Zero belief in it. Yeah. And I mean, some people will be like, "Well, it's the first game of the season. You never want to put I'm not putting too much in it. This ain't the first time we've seen this Clemson offense trot out there and look exactly like they just looked.
Yep.
This is a continuation of the same stuff. Same stuff, different year. That's where I'm at right now. So I'd be more than happy if Garrett Riley and this offense wants to get it together and prove me wrong. But right now, I'll buy it.
Yep.
I'm with you. This offense had literally zero answers in this game, and that's ridiculous. It's absurd.
Yeah.
Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting it to magically work on the next drive when it didn't work the 6 drives before.
Right.
Why are you going to do that? I mean, come on.
And that's the thing. Like defense, like there's no such thing as a perfect defense. There's no such thing as a perfect play call defensively. Like everything you call on defense, you are giving up something. There is something that you are giving up. And the good offensive coordinators are the ones that are able to identify what you're giving up and taking advantage of it.
Yep.
Clemson didn't do that. That's for sure. Like that's a problem. That's a problem. Death Valley Tiger said, I thought the corners tackled very well. Yeah, I was pleased with it, especially in the first half. That was one thing I was very worried about, was especially with how quickly Georgia likes to get the ball out. We talked about it in the preview. Georgia was one of the fastest from snap to throw in all of college football, and it wasn't because Carson Beck was getting pressured. It was because Carson Beck gets the ball out. They do a lot of quick game, and so that means you have to come down and tackle. Your defensive line isn't going to have a ton of time to get a pass rush home. Mm-hmm. But they came down, and I thought they tackled pretty well. Safeties too, like especially on some really key plays that otherwise could have been big plays. R.J. Mickens had a couple of really nice tackles. I saw Kylan Griffin make a really, really key tackle on that. That I think it was that slant to Dylan. I would think it was Dylan Bell and Avion Terrell was in coverage, and Kylan Griffin was the only thing keeping that from being a touchdown, and he made that tackle. Like that was good, especially for a second-year player.
Still some whiffs out in open space, I think, for the defense, but overall it was pretty good with tackling. Week 1 tends to be where you make your most whiffs on tackles. Like I say, Wade Woodass got his feet crossed up a few times.
Yeah, he did.
Look here, bro. Come on now. You're too fast for that. He's got some speed, so you can't be getting crossed up like that. But he'll play better, I'm sure. I got no doubts. Jim says, outcoached in the second half. Yes. Oh, yeah. Clemson was completely outcoached.
On both sides, really, but especially
on both sides of the ball. I mean, on the offense, Clemson's offense versus Georgia's defense, it was just more of the same.
Yeah.
But the defense, the Clemson defensive staff definitely got outcoached in the second half by the Georgia offensive staff. They made the adjustments, and Clemson wasn't able to figure it out from there. So outcoached, yes. Brandon Jones says, to the people that say we are holding back for the rest of the
God. I don't know who's saying whoever Yeah.
Look, Brandon, I hope you don't know anybody personally that's legitimately out there making this argument. This has got to be the dumbest, most like Homer fan argument. And you see it every year by various college football teams and various fan bases talking
Yeah.
about, oh, they're saving plays or they're saving this or stop it, man.
Yeah. Well,
Stop it.
and
You don't go play the
if
number
that were
one team in
true,
the country and be like, hey, we're gonna save this for App State next week.
yeah,
You're playing Georgia, bro. What are we talking about?
yeah,
No.
not yeah,
You're playing the
definitely
best in the country. There's nothing to save anything for.
right.
Crazy.
You do whatever you have to do to win the game
Yeah.
in these
Go
types
win
of
a
games,
game. Yeah.
and we certainly
That's
didn't do that.
anybody making that argument, you can't take them serious. They have no clue what they're talking about.
Double a City says, I feel like the problem is not the offense, but the coaching for the offense has been bad for the past few years. The defensive coaching was good. They were able to stop Georgia in the first time. And, that's what we've talked about. And, what we had hoped that, was the improvement that was most impactful this offseason was the coaching changes that you've made over the past couple of years. Well, it has not. If it has, it has not bore its fruit yet. That's for sure. I think again, I still am extremely high on the Matt Luke hire, and I thought the offensive line had a overall they played pretty well. I think it wasn't until like you were in obvious passing situations and you were down and Georgia didn't have to fear you running and putting a drive together that they really started to pin their ears back. But I thought they held up well. I never watched the offensive line and felt, oh man, they're overmatched in this game. So, and that was something we wouldn't have been able to say even last year. And so, and certainly not the last time you played Georgia. So I thought that was something to take away. If there was anything, was that I felt like the offensive line was properly prepared for this game from a physicality standpoint. They looked like that they held up pretty well in a lot of spots and gave Cade an opportunity. And but you weren't able to do anything with it, and that's disappointing. Jay says, what sucks the most is that Garrett Riley still doesn't know what works and what doesn't with his personnel. You expect more from someone making $2 million. And yeah, and that's the thing. Like you could give him a pass for last season because he went through a lot of the offseason without the guys that he was expecting to play and rely on. And of course, during the season, he lost guys that that they were relying on. But year two, and with the what we perceived as an infusion of talent, especially in the skill positions, you still don't seem to really have an answer for how to create explosive plays in the passing game, and that's disappointing. And now you don't really. And I think one thing is now you don't even really have a Will Shipley, for example, where that he was such a versatile weapon. And a lot of Clemson fans, were frustrated with him at times last year, but teams really did game plan for him a good bit, and that was because he did have that versatility. Like Phil Maffa is a true running back. Like you're not going to see him involved in a ton of pass plays if other than blocking. Or like a leak out, he can do a leak out, but you're not going to have him out there running routes. That's just that's what Will Shipley was able to do that. So that's another thing. So it's and especially Travis Etienne before him was able to do that. So you just don't have that. So you need to be able to have your receivers need to be able to pick up and tight ends as well. And we don't seem to know how to get them the football and get them in positions where they can make explosive plays
at all.
And it's that's the ultimate key to whether or not this team will ever figure it out offensively, because everything else will be that much more difficult if teams aren't respecting your downfield passing game. So that's why screens worked during the Chad Morris and Jeff Scott, Tony Elliott era, because
Yeah, because if you cheat down, we'll just throw it over your head for an 80-yard touchdown pass. So cheat down if you want to.
Yeah.
You're gonna pay for it.